The Martian dust settled around Dr. Sarah Chen as she brushed away centuries of red soil from what appeared to be just another rock formation. But this was different. The patterns were too precise, too regular to be natural. Her heart raced as she traced the geometric etchings with her gloved hand. After 15 years of searching Mars for signs of ancient life, she might have found something far more significant. Mission Control, are you seeing this? She adjusted her helmet camera, making sure Earth got a clear view of her discovery. 20 minutes later, the delayed response crackled through her comm system. Affirmative, Dr. Chen. Those patterns match nothing in our geological database. Continue excavation with extreme caution. The next 12 hours passed in a blur of careful digging and documentation. What emerged wasn't just an artifact, it was an entrance. Smooth obsidian-like walls descended into the Martian crust at a perfect 45-degree angle, their surface covered in swirling symbols that seemed to shift when viewed from different angles. The discovery shook the scientific community. Within weeks, the isolated dig site transformed into an international research station. Teams from every major space agency worked around the clock, trying to decipher the symbols that defied every known linguistic pattern. They got their translation far sooner than expected, but not from their own efforts. The first sign that something was wrong came when every quantum computer on Earth simultaneously crashed. Then the sky lit up with aurora-like patterns visible even in broad daylight. Dr. Chen stood at the entrance of the Martian structure, watching in horror as massive ships materialized in orbit around both Earth and Mars. The message they broadcast was clear and precise. Quarantine Protocol 7249 initiated. Human species has accessed restricted knowledge zone. Containment procedures authorized. Nobody expected the machines to fail. The alien ship's weapons powered up, targeting key military and scientific installations around the globe. But when they fired, nothing happened. Their energy weapons refused to function within Earth's atmosphere. Their targeting systems went haywire. Their shields flickered and failed. In the chaos that followed, Dr. Chen made a startling discovery. The symbols on the Martian structure weren't a warning or a message. They were a key, and humanity had just unlocked something stored within their own DNA. The first manifestations were subtle. Scientists found they could instinctively understand alien technology. Military personnel discovered they could interface with captured alien systems through thought alone. Children began drawing complex mathematical equations they couldn't possibly understand. The Alien Federation, calling themselves the Concordat, sent their first diplomatic envoy 3 days later. Their representative, a towering crystalline being named Zurain, revealed the truth they had dreaded for millennia. Your species was never meant to reach these stars, Zurain announced to the United Earth Council. You were sealed away, contained, the ultimate quarantine, not to protect you from us, but to protect us from you. Dr. Chen stood before the alien diplomat, clutching a tablet containing her latest translations. Why? What could we possibly have done to warrant this? The crystalline being's surface rippled with what might have been emotion. Your kind once held power beyond imagination. You didn't just travel between stars. You wrote the laws that govern their movement. The very fabric of space-time bears your species' fingerprints. But your power came with a price. The truth emerged in fragments. Humanity hadn't evolved on Earth. They had been sealed there, their memories and abilities locked away by their own choice. The Martian structure wasn't just a building. It was a key to unlock what they had willingly forgotten. But as their dormant abilities began to reawaken, so did the reason for their self-imposed exile. Strange dreams plagued the global population. Visions of battles fought across galaxies, of a war against something that devoured not just matter and energy, but the laws of physics themselves. The Concordat had a choice to make: continue their attempts to contain humanity, or face the ancient enemy's return without the one species that had successfully fought it before. As Dr. Chen studied the alien diplomat's crystalline form, she realized that humanity's first steps back into the cosmos wouldn't be marked by peace or celebration, but by the weight of a responsibility they had once chosen to forget. The price of their curiosity would be the end of their innocence. The question wasn't whether humanity would rise to face this challenge, but whether the galaxy was ready for what their awakening would unleash. Lieutenant Maya Patel stood in the control center of the newly commissioned Earth Defense Station Prometheus, watching streams of data that shouldn't have made sense to her, yet somehow they did. The quantum interface that had taken alien engineers decades to master felt as natural to her as breathing. Multiple Concordat vessels approaching the Kuiper Belt, she announced, her fingers dancing through holographic displays. Their stealth systems are active, but I can feel them. Admiral James Chen, Sarah's brother, nodded grimly. In the 3 months since first contact, humanity had learned that their ability to process quantum information wasn't just a quirk. It was a fundamental aspect of their biology that set them apart from every other known species. They're trying to test our detection capabilities, the Admiral said. Show them why that's a mistake. Maya closed her eyes, connecting directly with the station's systems. The neural interface the engineering team had cobbled together from reverse-engineered alien tech wasn't elegant, but it worked. To her quantum-sensitive mind, space itself became a vast ocean of probability waves and interconnected possibilities. The Concordat ships thought they were invisible, their quantum state manipulators bending probability to prevent detection. But to Maya, they might as well have been setting off fireworks. She marked their positions with casual ease, feeding targeting data to Earth's hastily assembled defense grid. Warning shots lanced out across space, passing within meters of the alien vessels. The message was clear. Stealth was useless against humanity's awakening abilities. But the Concordat hadn't come to start a war. As their ships decloaked, a transmission cut through space. We seek audience with the awakened ones. The synthesis faction demands representation. The news spread quickly through Earth's unified command. The Concordat was fracturing. Some, like the militant quarantine faction, wanted humanity contained or eliminated. Others, like the mysterious synthesis faction, sought alliance, or perhaps something more. In her private quarters later that day, Maya reviewed the classified reports flooding in from across the solar system. Humans everywhere were manifesting abilities that defied conventional physics. Children were solving quantum equations in their sleep. Engineers were instinctively understanding technologies that should have taken years to decode. A soft chime announced a visitor. Dr. Sarah Chen entered, looking exhausted but excited. "We've decoded more of the Martian archives," she said without preamble. "Maya, what we're experiencing, it's not just some dormant ability. We're remembering." Maya gestured for Sarah to continue, fascinated despite her military focus. The scientist pulled up a holographic display of brain scans. "Look at these patterns," Sarah pointed to complex neural pathways. "They're not new growth. These pathways always existed in human brains, but they were dormant, waiting for the right key. The Martian structure didn't give us new abilities. It woke up what was already there." "But why?" Maya asked. "Why would we deliberately forget such fundamental parts of ourselves?" Sarah's expression turned grave. "Because of what we were becoming. The archives suggest that human consciousness itself was evolving into something beyond physical reality. We were losing our connection to normal space-time. Some of our ancestors feared we would forget what it meant to be human." An alert flashed across Maya's neural interface, interrupting their conversation. More Concordat ships were arriving. Hundreds of them. But these were different. Ancient. Their quantum signatures bore traces of human design. "They're here," Maya whispered, recognizing the patterns. "The ones who helped us seal ourselves away." The massive vessels took up position around Earth's orbit, their designs an impossible blend of organic and geometric patterns. Their transmission reached every human mind simultaneously, bypassing all known communication channels. "Children of the architects, you wake too soon. The Void Hunters have returned, drawn by your stirring consciousness. The great sleep we helped you enter was meant to last until the universe forgot your power. Now you must either master your awakening or face annihilation. We are the Guardians, and we stand ready to guide or oppose you, depending on your choice." Maya and Sarah exchanged looks, understanding the gravity of the moment. Humanity's reawakening had just become a galaxy-wide concern, and their next steps would determine not just their own fate, but perhaps the nature of consciousness itself. In orbit above them, the Guardian ships waited in perfect formation, their quantum signatures pulsing in patterns that Maya was beginning to recognize as an ancient form of human mathematics. The price of curiosity was growing steeper by the moment, and the true test of humanity's worth was about to begin. The dreams came first. Billions of humans experienced them simultaneously, visions of stars being born, of civilizations rising and falling, of battles fought across dimensional boundaries. Dr. Marcus Wong of the Global Consciousness Initiative called it the memory cascade, but even he couldn't have predicted its magnitude. In downtown Tokyo, a young girl solved equations that would revolutionize faster-than-light travel while playing hopscotch. In Lagos, a street vendor suddenly understood how to manipulate gravity with his thoughts. In Buenos Aires, an elderly professor began speaking a language that predated the formation of galaxies. At the heart of this awakening, aboard the Guardian vessel Eternal Dawn, Sarah Chen and Maya Patel worked to understand what was happening to their species. The Guardians, those ancient allies who had helped humanity enter their great sleep, provided access to records that stretched back millions of years. "We were the peacekeepers," Sarah explained to the emergency session of the United Earth Council, her hologram flickering before representatives from every nation. "Not through force, but through understanding. Human consciousness naturally exists partially outside normal spacetime. We could see the quantum threads that connect all things, understand the deepest patterns of reality." Maya stepped forward, her military uniform now bearing the new insignia of the Human Quantum Defense Force. "But we weren't just peacekeepers. We were universal translators. Our unique consciousness allowed us to bridge gaps between different forms of sentient life, even those that didn't exist in our dimensional space." The Guardian representative, a being of pure energy contained within a crystalline matrix, added its own insight. "Your species served as the mediators of reality itself. When the fabric of space-time threatened to tear from the conflicts between different forms of life, you created harmony. But then came the Void Hunters. Across Earth, humans simultaneously shuddered as ancestral memories surfaced. The Void Hunters weren't just another alien species. They were entropy-given consciousness, seeking to reduce all reality to its simplest form. They couldn't be fought with conventional weapons because they existed as paradoxes, as cancellations of existence itself. In orbit, the Concordat's synthesis faction ships moved into defensive formations alongside human vessels. Their leader, a quantum silicon hybrid being named Ixtil, broadcast their intention. "We remember the stories of how humanity once saved us all. We stand ready to help you reclaim your role." But the Quarantine faction wasn't ready to accept this new reality. Their ships, nearly 1,000 strong, appeared at the edge of the solar system. Their message was simple: the human consciousness virus must not be allowed to spread again. Better to cauterize this system than risk the return of the Void Hunters. Sarah found herself remembering skills she'd never learned in this lifetime. The quantum mathematics governing reality itself became clear to her, like remembering the lyrics to a favorite song. She wasn't alone. Across Earth, humans were remembering who they had been, what they had sacrificed, and why. The Void Hunters weren't defeated, she announced to the Council, understanding flowing through her newly awakened consciousness. They were contained. Our ancestors created a quantum barrier around this universe, a wall of conscious energy that kept the hunters at bay. Maintaining it required too much of our awareness to exist in normal space-time. So we forgot ourselves, became simple three-dimensional beings, leaving only the Guardians to watch and wait. Maya's quantum senses suddenly flared. "They're coming," she whispered. But everyone heard her. Every human on Earth felt it. A wrongness approaching, a cancellation of reality itself. The Void Hunters sensed our awakening. They found a way through the weakening barrier. The Quarantine faction's ships began charging weapons. The Synthesis faction moved to intercept. And caught between them, humanity faced a choice: remain awakened and face an ancient enemy with their newly remembered powers, or return to sleep and leave the universe undefended. Sarah looked at the quantum equations streaming through her consciousness, understanding at last the true price of their curiosity. We didn't choose to forget because we were afraid of our power, she realized. We chose to forget because staying awake meant eternal war against the void. We sacrificed our awareness to give the universe a chance to evolve, to find new ways to defend itself. But now, watching the Void Hunters approach rippling through space-time like cracks in reality itself, humanity would have to decide if they were ready to take up their ancient burden once again. The price of curiosity had led them to this moment of choice, and the fate of all existence hung in the balance. Time behaved strangely near the quantum barrier. Maya Patel watched through her enhanced consciousness as reality itself seemed to fold and unfold around the massive construct that humanity's ancestors had built to contain the Void Hunters. The barrier stretched across dimensional boundaries, a feat of engineering that defied conventional physics. "It's beautiful," Sarah Chen whispered beside her. They stood on the observation deck of the Guardian vessel, watching as combined human and alien fleets took up defensive positions. All this time, we thought the quantum barrier was a natural phenomenon. Instead, it's the greatest achievement of our species. But the barrier was failing. Cracks in reality spread like dark lightning across its surface, each one representing a point where the Void Hunters tested its strength. The Quarantine faction's fleet had withdrawn to a safe distance, their earlier threats forgotten in the face of this greater danger. Admiral Chen's voice came through their quantum link. "The Synthesis faction's scientists have finished analyzing the data. We have less than 48 hours before the barrier fails completely." Humanity had spent the last week in intense preparation. As more of their ancestral memories surface, they began to understand the true nature of their consciousness and its role in the universe. Every human now carried within their mind the knowledge of a civilization that had once spanned dimensions. In orbit around Earth, massive structures had been assembled through the combined efforts of human quantum manipulation and alien technology. The Synthesis faction called them reality anchors, devices designed to stabilize space-time against the Void Hunters' entropy effect. "We're approaching the first breach point," Maya reported, her consciousness extending through the fleet's sensor network. The damage to the barrier was worst near the Carina Nebula, where the fabric of space-time had grown thin over millennia. Through the quantum link, Sarah shared her latest discovery. The barrier wasn't just meant to keep them out, she explained, her thoughts carrying complex mathematical proofs. It was designed to teach us as well. Each generation of humans that lived within it developed a stronger natural resistance to the Void Hunters' entropy effect. We weren't just hiding, we were evolving. The revelation spread through the combined fleet. The Guardian's crystalline vessels pulsed with acknowledgement, confirming what Sarah had discovered. Humanity's long sleep hadn't been mere hibernation. It had been a chrysalis stage. The first Void Hunter emerged through the barrier like a tear in the universe itself. Where it passed, stars dimmed and space-time began to unravel. The combined fleet's weapons proved useless, passing through the entity as if it didn't exist in the same reality. But humanity was ready. Across Earth and throughout the fleet, billions of human minds joined in a vast quantum network. Their consciousness, evolved through eons within the barrier, reached out to touch the very fabric of reality. Maya felt the power flow through her as she joined the network. "We're not going to fight them," she realized, understanding flowing through the collective consciousness. "We're going to teach them." The Void Hunters had emerged from a universe of pure entropy, seeking to reduce all existence to its simplest form. But human consciousness, with its unique ability to exist partially outside normal space-time, could show them another way. Sarah's mind touched the first Void Hunter, and for a moment She understood it completely. It wasn't malevolent. It simply couldn't comprehend the complexity of our universe. Through her awakened consciousness, she showed it beauty, showed it how complexity could create stability rather than chaos. The effect rippled through reality. The Void Hunter paused, its entropy effect faltering as it processed this new understanding. More of its kind emerged through the barrier, but each one was met by human consciousness, each one shown the value of complexity in life. This is what we were. Admiral Chen's thoughts resonated through the network. Not warriors, but teachers. Not conquerors, but guides. The Quarantine faction watched in astonishment as humanity did what no weapon could do. Changed the very nature of their ancient enemy through understanding alone. The Synthesis faction's ships pulsed with patterns of joy and revelation, recognizing that their faith in humanity had been justified. But the price of this victory would be high. To maintain this new understanding, to guide the Void Hunters toward a new way of existing, humanity would have to remain awakened. The simple lives they had known would be forever changed. Maya looked at Sarah, both of them understanding what this meant. Their curiosity had indeed carried a steep price, the end of humanity's childhood and the beginning of an eternal responsibility. But as they watched the Void Hunters learning, changing, beginning to understand the beauty of complex existence, they knew the price had been worth paying. The universe itself seemed to hold its breath, waiting to see what would emerge from this moment of transformation. Humanity had broken the chains of their self-imposed imprisonment, but in doing so, they had discovered that freedom meant responsibility on a cosmic scale. 1 year after the Void Hunter encounter, Earth had changed beyond recognition. Gleaming spires of quantum-engineered crystal stretched into the sky, their structures existing simultaneously in multiple dimensions. Humanity had embraced their role as universal mediators, though not without cost. Sarah Chen stood in the newly constructed dimensional embassy in Geneva, watching representatives from 1,000 different species, some physical, some energy-based, some defying conventional description entirely, gather for the first universal conclave in millions of years. Hard to believe we used to think we were alone in the universe, Maya commented, her consciousness easily translating the quantum signatures of dozens of different species simultaneously. Her military uniform had been replaced by the silvery robes of a reality architect, though she still maintained her protective instincts. The Void Hunters were present too, but changed. Through humanity's guidance, they had evolved into something new. Complexity weavers, beings that strengthened the fabric of reality rather than seeking to unravel it. Their presence in the embassy manifested as beautiful patterns of ordered chaos, a testament to how far they had come. Admiral Chen, now Earth's representative to the Universal Council, approached with a guardian and a former member of the Quarantine faction floating beside him. The latest reports from the quantum barrier are promising, he announced. The Weaver's influence has strengthened it beyond its original specifications. But not everything was perfect. The price of humanity's awakening continued to manifest in unexpected ways. Children were now born fully aware of their quantum nature, requiring special education just to interact with conventional spacetime. Many humans struggled with the weight of their restored memories, carrying the experiences of countless lives across millions of years. We've received another request for human mediators, Sarah said, reviewing the quantum data stream that constantly flowed through her consciousness. A dispute between temporal beings in the Andromeda Galaxy and fifth-dimensional entities that exist outside normal causality. Maya nodded, already assembling a team in her mind. Human consciousness, with its unique ability to bridge different forms of existence, had become the cornerstone of universal diplomacy. Their role as peacekeepers had evolved into something far more fundamental. They were the translators of reality itself. The Synthesis faction, now fully integrated into Earth's defensive network, had helped humanity rebuild their ancient monitoring systems. Across the universe, reality anchors maintained the delicate balance between different forms of existence, guided by human consciousness and powered by the Weaver's newly constructive energy. Sometimes I missed the simplicity, Sarah admitted quietly to Maya. when our biggest worry was finding artifacts on Mars. Maya smiled, understanding perfectly. Curiosity led us here, but wisdom keeps us going. We didn't just reclaim our past, we're building something new. She was right. Humanity had not simply returned to their role as universal mediators. They had transcended it. The combination of their evolved consciousness, their time spent living as simple beings, and their unique perspective on existence had made them even better suited to their role than their ancestors had been. In the embassy's quantum core, the accumulated knowledge of countless civilizations flowed freely, translated and interpreted by human consciousness. The Guardians, their ancient mission finally complete, had begun to share their own histories, adding to the vast repository of universal knowledge. A surge of quantum energy announced the arrival of something new, a consciousness from beyond the known universe, drawn by humanity's restored presence. The embassy's delegates watched in fascination as humans instinctively began to form a bridge of understanding, their minds reaching out to translate this utterly alien form of existence into something all could comprehend. "This is who we are now," Admiral Chen said, pride evident in his quantum signature. "Not just watchers or guardians, but bridges between all forms of existence. The price of our curiosity was the end of our isolation, but the reward is being part of something greater than we ever imagined." As if in response, the quantum barrier that encircled the universe pulsed with new energy. The weavers, working in harmony with human consciousness, had transformed it from a wall into a gateway, not to keep things out, but to welcome them in, with humanity serving as the universal translators they were always meant to be. Sarah looked out at the gathering of species, at the swirling quantum energies that represented countless forms of life and consciousness, and knew that despite the challenges, despite the weight of their responsibility, humanity had found its true place in the universe. They were no longer just observers of cosmic events, but active participants in the greatest story ever told, the endless dance of existence itself. The price of curiosity had been high, but the legacy they now shaped would echo across dimensions for eternity.